Come to me.
Ooh, that was from the new and highly anticipated movie, Nosferatu, which comes out on Christmas Day. Errol Barnett joins us with a story on the film's director, Robert Eggers. Errol, good morning.
Yes, Michelle, you should be spooked. He's earned himself a reputation as a maestro of folk horror for films like The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. For director Robert Eggers, the devil truly is in the details. And his fourth and latest film, a retelling of the silent vampire picture by F.W. Murnau, is no exception. It was this performance that terrified audiences in 1922. Actor Max Schreck would define the vampire figure for generations. Now, Count Orlok and the gothic world of Nosferatu are getting new life.
When Hutter, the sort of romantic male lead, threw open the lid of the sarcophagus in the Murnau film, that was a jump scare in 1922. You know, and while there were horror movies before Nosferatu, Nosferatu very much invented horror films. So my film is in conversation both with that movie, but also horror history.
We caught up with Robert Eggers at Lyndhurst Mansion in Tarrytown, New York, where you might find the history-obsessed.
I think if I wasn't some kind of a storyteller or a visual artist, I probably would have been an archaeologist. So the act of research just excites me.
Pray for thy brother.
You must believe her. Evil wretch!
Some shame.
Whether it's a Puritan nightmare,
What?
a 19th century psychological horror, or a Viking revenge epic, Eggers strives for historical accuracy, a fascination that harkens back to his childhood growing up in New Hampshire.
So I first saw Nosferatu when I was 9 years old. I saw a picture of Max Schreck in a book about vampires in the school library, and then my mom helped me track down a VHS, and I was just utterly mesmerized, like initially by Max Schreck's performance and this iconic makeup design that he designed himself. He just seemed like a vampire, and it felt real.
At 17, he and a friend crafted a version for their high school, with Eggers as Orlok.
This gentleman, Edward Langlois, who had the kind of cool theater in southern New Hampshire, he saw the show and invited us to do a more professional version of it at his theater. And it changed my life. It cemented the fact that I wanted to be a director. And even if this, adaptation of Nosferatu that we're discussing now had never existed, Nosferatu would always be like a big part of my identity as someone who makes creative work.
For about 10 years, the director pushed to make this adaptation, with plans falling apart more than once.
When it fell apart the second time, I thought someone's trying to send a sign to say, like, don't make this movie. There is a lot of hubris in trying to do Nosferatu, which was something that I was struggling with from the beginning. Like, do I have the right to do this,
Filming finally began in 2023, with sets built in the Czech Republic and shoots in Transylvania itself, the Romanian roots of Dracula. What was it like for you to be in the physical place that inspired the material?
It was emotional to finally do it, so it was pretty incredible.
A backlot spanning 6 city blocks, candlelit sequences, and plenty of fog, evoking his own haunted memories.
It's shot on film, also makes it feel a little older. And then the scenes that take place with moonlight are almost black and white. Our eyes in moonlight actually see close to black and white, and so that's what we were trying to replicate.
Along with the thousands of real rats.
We had the best animal trainers in the business. So they actually trained like a couple hundred of the rats to enter on cue. Release the rats much deeper, and they were easy to work with, but they are also incontinent, which I didn't know. And so the smell is quite overwhelming.
A spirit of comfort.
Eggers also reimagines the story in the eyes of protagonist Ellen, played by Lily Rose Depp, showing her as a victim of the evil that stalks her and 19th century society itself.
Lily is tremendous, and the way she's able to plug herself into this dark, haunted place quite easily is very impressive. And then she worked with a choreographer who specializes in a Japanese dance tradition called Buto. And I looked at Charcot, who was this 19th century psychologist who studied hysteria. He had illustrations commissioned of every hysterical attitude, every pose that his patients would make for various reasons.
Depp is joined by other powerful performers.
Hearken to my voice.
The one and only Willem Dafoe keeps
Yes.
coming back to work with you.
Willem just kind of gets the joke of life, you know?
Which means what?
Every character that he plays, he's able to give it a kind of fire.
I have wrestled with the devil.
And there's humor there.
I seen it. You're fond of me, lobster.
I mean, even if he's playing like a dark bastard, like because of who Willem is, he makes that role someone that the audience can engage with. I'm so lucky that Willem continues to want to work with me.
And the bloodthirsty villain played by Bill Skarsgård. We won't spoil the reveal, but he is unrecognizable.
And the vampires in the folkloric tradition are walking corpses. They're more similar visually to zombies. And so if I was going to tell this story again, it needed to be scary, and that was a way to make the vampire scary again.
What were the conversations between you and Bill about what he would have to go through to take on that role?
I mean, it was a tremendous amount of work. Bill trained with Elsa Juniusdottir, who's an opera singer, to lower his voice an octave.
You will obey this my counsel.
It's 6 hours of makeup to the full process of becoming this character. And also Bill had to channel a lot of real darkness. For fans of the genre, I hope that it connects with them and it both feels new and also somehow cozy. I've been asked many times if I would ever make a contemporary movie, and I have no interest in it. Photographing a car is bad enough, but photographing a cell phone is like a true nightmare scenario for me. And I get enough of the kitchen sink in my own kitchen, so like let's go somewhere else.
What scares you?
Jaron, my cinematographer, texted me a couple of years ago, "What are you the most afraid of?" And I replied, being alone, going too deep in the occult and becoming insane, and being stabbed like in a dark alleyway, taken by surprise. And then he texted back, "My daughter was actually asking for a Halloween project."
Well, too deep there.
Well, one of the original production designers on Nosferatu was believed to be a serious occultist, and that's why the look of the original film felt so real to people. So for Robert to say, look, I'm afraid of getting too deep into this, and he goes deep with the source material is quite relevant.
I love legend and I love history, so it's the perfect combination. I can't wait to see it.
And we spoke more about this. He spoke about how folk tales are relevant to us today, so we'll have the full chat on YouTube soon.
All right, thanks, Earl.